All right. All right, let us continue with our transmission regarding the next phase of open contact. As we transmitted in the last transmission, the idea is to prepare yourselves for the introduction of extraterrestrials within the course of the next 5 of your years. Assuming that each and every one of you have begun to ponder what that would be like in your lives, how you would respond to those kinds of changes in your reality, we will continue now to provide a little bit more information about the steps that may follow with the idea of open contact. However, first, we would like to address something that was brought up in the last transmission regarding the idea of what contact would be like with respect to a couple of expressions of your entertainment. It was brought up of the contrast and the comparisons between Star Wars and Star Trek. The idea is that Star Wars is representative of something that happened millions of years ago in the old Orion systems, where there was a lot of oppression, suppression, rebellion, struggle, strife, negativity, fear. The idea, as we have said, is that there are many stories playing out on Earth to help finish some of those old cycles. So the ancient Orion story is here, which is one of the reasons why, intuitively and collectively, Star Wars was created, to bring that back up into your consciousness so that you could process it, deal with it, begin to let it go. So, Star Wars represents symbolically your past. Star Trek represents symbolically your future, where you are moving into the idea of a unity, an exploration, an experience, a connection between many different species in the galaxy. The idea, of course, is that eventually you yourselves, humanity itself, will venture out among the stars with the assistance of extraterrestrial technology to become other civilizations, UFOs, to take on the process of letting them know that they are not alone in the universe. You will encounter many different kinds of civilizations, just as we have. Many of you will specialize in exactly how you approach these civilizations and become first contact specialists yourselves in the far future, in the decades to come. We have in the past talked about the idea of a civilization not so very far away from your own that will be, in a sense, a kind of test case for you. We have left this civilization alone. You will be the ones to make first contact with them as humanity, so that you can be trained as to how to go about that particular process, to understand, to observe, to watch, to study, to learn what their civilization is all about. So in your ships, you can begin to decide whether it is and when it is appropriate for you to approach them, how it might be appropriate for you to initiate first contact, with the dispensation of information, with sightings, so on and so forth. Programs will be laid out. You will plan, you will consult, you will confer, you will decide together in councils how you will approach new civilizations who you feel may be ready for the very beginnings of open contact for their civilization. Now, you will do it differently than we have done it, for we are evolved to a point where we have done this in a very different way. But you will have your way of doing this, and they will get to know you as a species and become familiar with themselves through your eyes eventually. The idea, going back to Star Wars and Star Trek, as to what it is that was and what it is that will be, we remind you that even in the creation of the entertainment of Star Wars, to give you your first clue that it's about your past and not your future, it begins a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So you know intuitively it is about where you came from and not where you're going to. Now again, there are, as I said, many stories playing out, finishing up. The story of Atlantis, the story of the ancient Martian civilization, which many of your souls incarnated upon long time ago. The destruction of their ecosystem through meteoric bombardment and other natural catastrophes rendered the planet relatively uninhabitable over a period of time. And so the souls began to incarnate, when viable, upon the earth. So you're finishing out that story as well. Those are three of the main stories that are seeking a different outcome, that are experiencing a process that can lead to a more positive outcome than was experienced, linearly speaking, in history. You come together because, again, the earth is the kind of school where stories can be told and stories can be played out in a different way according to your choices, according to your ability to transform. Now, in the years following open contact on your planet, after the first contact specialists, such as myself, have done their job, so to speak, others from our society and other societies will also be of assistance in the process of allowing you to acclimate to the idea of interacting as a society with extraterrestrial beings. Next will come what we term the social engineers. When this channel began to bring our society through, our energy through, even though I made the initial connection due to our agreement from Spirit, one of the first beings that the channel brought through was a female from my society that was termed Anima, for those who will remember. Anima is a colleague of mine, and she is a social engineer. So she will come among you with others of her kind to help you understand the idea of social engineering, which basically translates to the concept of planetary management, since you will now begin to understand your world, your entire world, as your home, and begin to understand with new technologies how to manage things on a global scale for the benefit of humanity. So planetary management will be the domain of the social engineers from our society and others who will come to aid and assist you in understanding how to transform easily, beneficially, your society, sociologically, politically, economically, so on and so forth. To distribute the idea of sustenance in a more efficient way, to experience the idea of the distribution of free energy in a more efficient way, to experience the idea of yourselves truly as global citizens, eventually retaining the idea of your cultural differences and validating and cherishing them, but erasing the idea of any political borders that you have drawn out on your planet in the years to come, in the decades ahead, so that you may travel freely around your world, so that you may understand the entire world as your home, to gain global consciousness. And that is the next step in humanity progressing towards becoming Homo Galacticus, Because as you spread out among the stars eventually, you will look back to Earth and cherish Earth and preserve Earth as your true home, so that you have that basis, you have that anchor point, so that you know that it is always there for you for quite a while, for millennia to come, until such time as it is no longer necessary for the evolution of your species, and as we said, you turn it over to other species to take advantage of the cycles of Earth for their own exploration, for their own life path, for their own soul's journey. And so it will be a progression of expansion, a progression of connection, a progression of awareness, more and more introductions of all the different ways that different species within the galaxy have of expressing themselves, from things that you might consider relatively ordinary but different, to those you would consider to be extremely exotic and almost unimaginable. We have mentioned a few of these species over time, and you will be given the opportunity to understand how many more species there are, even just in your own galaxy. There are literally millions of civilizations you have yet to discover. It is a rich treasure trove of different perspectives, different experiences, different understandings, different awarenesses, different expressions of the one source of all that is, so that you may find connectivity and communion, even though you may have extremely different understandings and experiences of how you express the idea of your reflection of all that is. There will always be that common bond on the soul level, because all souls are the same. Our souls are the same souls as your souls, the same type of souls. We all go home to the spirit world. That is where we are right now with all of you. We are playing this game in various ways in what you call physical reality, to learn, to grow, to expand existence and creation itself in all the ways that it can. But we are all the same kind of soul, all the same kind of reflection of all that is. The validation of all our differences is what will create unity among us all. To respect, to validate, to cherish as precious the differences, the different perspectives that allow you to start functioning when you connect them all together as a true holistic system. To be able to know that whatever you need exists somewhere that can be accessed, so that there is no want, so that there is no shortage, so that there is no lack. When you allow yourself to connect to all that is available to you among the stars, so that you are no longer experiencing yourselves as an isolated world, the abundance is beyond imagining to what you will have access to. The first gifts that you will be given, as precious and wondrous as they may be, will pale by comparison to what you can eventually access throughout the cosmos. You have yet to stretch your imaginations to encompass what is out here. This will be the joy of discovery, the joy of expansion of your species, to discover all that awaits you on your cosmic path, now that you have arrived at a point on your journey as a planetary species to an interplanetary one, to an interstellar one, and eventually to an intergalactic one, and eventually still to an interuniversal one, a multiversal species, multiple dimensions of experience. What awaits you is within you. Right now, allow us to help you unfold it, to help you walk that path It is your choice. And the choice, for many of you, has been made. And that is why you will experience something very different in the introduction of open contact within the next 5 years. We thank you profoundly, deeply, with great appreciation and gratitude for allowing us, through you, to expand our galactic family. For you are precious to us, and we owe you a lot. In return, I ask you now, in what way may we continue to be of service to you? Please begin with your dialogues and questions, if you wish, or shall I say, if you dare.
And it will say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, thank you. Once again, we thank you for the co-creation of this interaction this day of your time and the allowance of this transmission in this way. We will, this day of your time, be discussing the concept that we have termed the passion principle, going a little bit more deeply into the concept so that you can more readily apply this in your day-to-day reality and create the effect that is more resonant with your true frequency. We will also once again remind you that there will be another transmission from the Essassani Oversoul near the end of this transmission, this day of your time. So let us begin. We are often asked throughout the course of these transmissions from many of you the question, what is my purpose in life? Passion is your purpose in life. Your purpose is passion. What does that mean? It means that passion and all of its expressions, excitement, happiness, joy, creativity, love, are all different ways of expressing the vibration of your true natural self, what we call your signature frequency. Your signature frequency is that resonant energy, that vibration that is unique to you, that identifies you as a unique aspect of all that is of creation. And the way you apply that signature frequency through passion is to act on your highest excitement to the best of your ability, with no insistence or assumption as to what the outcome ought to be, as to what to come to fruition, but to allow the synchronicity in your life to present to you the opportunities that contain that excitement so you can recognize it, because excitement is the compass needle that points to your magnetic north. And by acting on it to the best of your ability, you will bring about in your life what we call the complete kit. You will allow it to work for you. And you will discover very readily, very easily, that excitement can function in your life as the driving engine, as the organizing principle, as the path of least resistance, as the thread that leads to all other expressions of excitement, and as the reflective mirror that will reveal to you what may be within you that is out of alignment with that excitement, so you can identify it and bring it back into alignment and expand your excitement in that way. And simply by following that formula of acting at every moment to the best of your ability on your highest excitement with no insistence on how the outcome should look, you will activate that complete kit, and it will work for you automatically, effortlessly, every moment, without fail, as it's working for you now. But the idea is to not use the mechanism of creation to reinforce the things that are out of alignment with your preferred self, your natural self, your true self, but to use the very same mechanism to reinforce what is in alignment with who you prefer to be. As you allow yourself to move forward in that way, your life will become an ecstatic explosion of synchronicity, very magical. Things will begin to happen all around you because magic is, again, the true nature of existence. Miracles are the natural order of things, not the exception. And you can experience more and more of that miraculous magic the more you are in alignment with your natural energy, with your natural flow. Your willingness to act this way in life is a commitment that you make to yourself that leads you to the understanding that there is, in fact, a fundamental principle to this idea of acting on your passion. But before we get to that, let us give an example, shall we say, of how this concept can be practically applied in your physical reality by using the example of some form of project or business or career that may excite you, that you may be very attracted to, and demonstrate at every step, at every point, how to allow yourself to stay in alignment with that energy. So first and foremost, of course, the principle itself of passion, being that you need to act on those things that really are representative and reflective of that highest excitement, that joy, that creativity. Now, of course, again, please remember that excitement doesn't mean that you have to be jumping up and down, running around, as you say, with your hair on fire. But the idea is that it can be experienced as bliss, as a state of balanced peace as well. There are many expressions of the idea of passion and excitement. Those and also compassion being one of them. But as you allow yourself to experience this excitement, this bodily, physical translation of that vibrational energy that is your signature frequency, and you thus gravitate and attract yourself to some project, business, career, or what have you, or even just moment to moment, step by step, first and foremost, make sure that the project, I'll just use that term for now, is truly representative of your highest passion in all ways, so that you do it in the way that is most exciting, so that it is really reflective of your excitement in all of its aspects, that it is, in all of its components, truly aligned, truly being experienced, truly being created, truly being laid out with that passion in mind, so that you are doing it where you wish to do it that's most exciting, with whom you wish to do it that's most exciting, which leads you to the idea of another principle of passion, and that is, after passion, after project, then there is preparedness. Be prepared. Learn the things that are germane, that will give you the skills, that will give you the abilities to follow up on your passion. And again, as we said, there is no need to be afraid that some of the things that are required that you might need to learn would have to be learned in any other way other than the way that's most exciting. Many of you have this misunderstanding that just because you have to learn something in order to better enable you to act on your passion, that somehow the learning of that thing is outside of your passion. Nothing could be further from the truth. There is always a way. If you truly need to learn something, if you truly need to develop a skill that will give you a better ability to act on your passion, there is always going to be a way that's the most exciting way you can learn that thing. So please don't create contradictory definitions within your excitement by assuming that you can act on your excitement, but that the thing you need to learn to do it best would actually be not exciting. That's a contradiction in the definition of excitement. Anything that you truly need to learn must, by definition, be capable of being learned in a way that is equal to the excitement of the thing itself. If you want to look at that as an equation and a formula, go ahead. But that's the way it works. Your definition of excitement must be clear and self-consistent so that you don't have contradictory and conflicting definitions within your consciousness about what your excitement is or what other areas of your life it extends into that would somehow be contrary to that excitement, which it cannot be if it's a true definition. If you find that there is conflict, if you find there's contradiction, then it is important to realize that you may not have a clear definition of excitement, and it's time to refine that, time to examine it, time to explore it, time to make sure it's all lined up, and that all the definitions you're using for the things you really need to do are being defined in the most exciting way possible. After you know that this is your passion, after the project is designed by you to be expressed in the most exciting way, after you have attracted to yourself the idea of all the things you need to learn to be prepared in the most exciting way, then the next, after passion and project and preparedness, is people. Attract to yourself all the best people who are equally excited about what it is you are doing, who you wish to work with side by side, who you wish to collaborate with. Because again, doing what excites you the most must not only be done where it's most exciting, how it's most exciting, but with whom it's most exciting. And if those people do not exhibit the same passion, the same compatible vibration, they may not be the ones that really need to be aligned with you or you with them. Do not fear to allow yourself to recognize that things may be vibrationally incompatible with some individuals, because by allowing yourself to only align with those who are vibrationally compatible with your passion and you with theirs, you are thus allowing more synchronicity to occur, more magnification and amplification and acceleration to occur. And you're also doing a favor, a loving favor to those who are not vibrationally compatible by letting them go their own way. Because then you are allowing them to find what is truly exciting for them instead of holding them to something that may not really be exciting for them. Allow yourself to make sure that arena is also clear and clean. And finally, in this 5-part idea, after passion, after project, after preparedness, after people, is persistence. The idea of following through, of taking action in all the ways that need to be taken, all the way out, all the way through. And again, there is absolutely nothing about these ideas of persistence and these ideas of taking action and following through that has to be in any way contradictory to the vibration of your excitement and your passion. There will always be a way to do that. And again, in some senses, it is self-reinforcing, because if you truly, truly, truly are passionate about what it is you're taking action on, then you will persist, because nothing else excites you more than this. And that brings about its own persistence. And this brings us to the true underlying fundamental principle of passion. And that is, you have brought yourself to a place where there is no other choice. Period. You ensure that you don't create reasons that are contradictory to the idea of your passion. You don't create any other choice that seems as exciting, as reasonable, as logical for you to persist on. The idea of following through and persistence will come automatically with your passion when you allow yourself to recognize truly that you've arrived at a place where there is no other choice in that moment but that thing that is representative at that moment of your highest joy, your highest passion. Don't create reasons to do things that are outside of that vibration. Now, that being said, as has been said, certainly you have to honor your belief system as it exists in that moment. Because if you really do believe that your excitement can't support you, and you believe you need to hold on to the things that you're doing that are not necessarily representative of your highest excitement, but you believe you need them in order to support yourself in life, then honor your belief system and don't let go of those things until you yourself are absolutely certain, absolutely know, at whatever rate you're comfortable, at whatever pace works best for you, that your excitement can in fact support you. But at least give yourself the chance, at least give yourself the opportunity. Every single opportunity you can act on that is representative of your excitement, act on it to the best of your ability with no insistence on the outcome. And bit by bit, by bit by bit, and day by day by day, you will allow your excitement to demonstrate to you, to prove to you that more and more every day in every way it actually will bring about the synchronous opportunities and the synchronous circumstances that will be capable of supporting you in some way, shape, or form, as long as you are willing to open up your definitions of what support means. Because again, excitement being a complete kit will bring you the type of support that is truly necessary at that moment, even though it may be very different looking than the type of support you're used to receiving or that your society has taught you think you need in order to go to the next stage or the next level. The type of support that needs to be there to allow you to continue to act on higher and higher levels of your excitement will be there if you allow yourself to understand, again, how not to have a contradictory definition of excitement and understand it as a complete kit. And by complete, we mean complete, which means it leaves nothing out that you truly need. This is how the mechanism works. And the real fundamental principle, when you finally get to the point of acting on your passion because there is simply no other choice for you, you will accelerate at such a rate and your life will become so ecstatic and so magical and things will appear before you in such a synchronistic way that you will think you are dreaming, which you are. But you will be experiencing it in the physical dream. And it will be one more way that you can demonstrate and prove to yourself that you are creating your reality, that your definitions in your conscious mind, in what makes up your personality structure, are the foundations that determine how you experience yourself in reality, as reality, how it's reflected to you. And as you get a handle on understanding that those definitions are the blueprints, and as you allow yourself to change your definitions to be more in alignment with your passion, more representative of how you prefer to define your life, yourself, your circumstances, then again you create more and more alignment, more and more harmonics within your experience of reality. And you can use whatever feelings may come up when the kit of excitement may show you something, may reveal something in you that might be out of alignment with your passion, with your true vibration. You can use those harmonics. You can use that assurance that if you change your definitions, you'll bring it back into alignment. You use your feelings, you use your emotions to trace back to what definitions must be true in order for you to have those feelings, because no feeling can be had without a definition first. And the more you understand and apply this, and truly, truly understand that this is a description of the mechanism of creation itself, and use it from that perspective, then again, the more everything will flow, the smoother everything will be. It's really that simple. Simple as coming down to the realization and the understanding that there is no other choice for you. And you don't have to invent any other reasons to do something other than that. You don't have to buy into any definitions that are out of alignment with what you prefer. That's really the simple principle, the fundamental principle underlying passion, is that you are making a decision, you are making a choice, and that choice is this and nothing else that is not representative of your highest joy, of your highest frequency. And again, at whatever rate is comfortable for you. But that's how it works. Does that make sense to you? Yes. Is that something you think you can get passionate about?
Yes.
All right. We will discuss this concept further in application as we interact with you now through questions and answers, if you so desire. You may begin with that process.
All right, outside. How are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist?
Great.
Allow us to refresh ourselves upon the idea and the concept of perfection. We have discussed many times with you the idea that in your lives, very often you are taught, that even when you create the idea and the notion in your lives of what you call a spiritual path, that the reason for this is for the attainment and the achievement of perfection. But recognize once again, as we have shared many times, our perspective is that you will never achieve perfection because you are already perfect. The idea does not mean that you will not grow, not expand, not change, not transform, not learn something new. But it is simply an allowance, a recognition of allowance in your lives, that at any given moment, the idea you are being, the reality you are expressing, the events you are experiencing are, for their own reasons, perfect in themselves. This relaxation, this attitude, this backing off from yourself in that way, rather than applying so much pressure to the idea to be more perfect, is what allows you to know that you can always become a different type of perfection at any given moment, perhaps a more expanded type. But you will always be, at any given moment, the absolute perfect manifestation of whatever idea you are being at that moment. Your willingness to allow that moment to be perfect in and of itself is what paradoxically allows you to create the next and different perfect moment. Because unless you are willing to allow whatever moment you are experiencing to be complete in and of itself on all levels, then you are not allowing yourself to view and perceive all facets of that experience, because if you do not think it is perfect as it is, if you invalidate it and judge it in that way, in a negative point of view, then you yourself may be shutting off aspects of that event, of that moment, that you need to see, need to be aware of, to incorporate them into the totality of yourself so that you can get on with the next step. Every moment is a stepping stone to the next moment. And if you invalidate any stepping stone, then you yourself remove from the path you are the ability to get to the next stepping stone. Always allow each and every moment of your lives to be perfectly valid as they are. This does not mean you must accept that the things that are occurring in your life are what you quote-unquote should accept or prefer. You can always prefer your life to be the way you desire it to be. But the way to allow yourself to create it to be the way you desire it to be is to accept that the way it is now serves a purpose and is a part of the path you have created yourself to be, and that what you are learning is there for a reason, your reason, that there is something within the scenario you want to see, you want to reflect on, you want to learn from. And in accepting and acknowledging the way your life does unfold, that is what gives you the recognition of the empowerment you have to create your life to unfold in the direction and in the manner you most desire it to be. So simply do allow yourself to reflect at any given moment that no matter what your choices, every scenario for what it is a perfect manifestation of that scenario. You can prefer perfect harmony and perfect ecstasy, or you can prefer perfect misery. But both are perfect expressions of the idea you are reflecting at that moment. And when you allow it to be there for a reason, then you can extract from that scenario what will most assist you in reforming the idea, redirecting yourself, and creating what it is you desire to experience most in your reality. Many individuals will pressure themselves in many different ways to strive, to struggle, to try to be more perfect. Will set themselves goals and ideals in that way that continually deny the validity they possess at that moment. In that way, you deny yourself all that you truly desire as well. For if you do not believe yourself complete in that moment, then you, by your own definition, insist that you do not have the capability of creating what it is you say you desire to attract into your lives. Knowing that you are complete, perhaps focused not in a way you prefer to be, but knowing you are complete gives you the opportunity to know that at any given moment you have the ability to refocus yourself in any direction you desire. You lack nothing. You have all the tools and all the abilities you require at any given moment to be anything you are willing and bold enough to believe you can define yourself to be.